the rhythm track from the ubiquitous Arona.
Yes, this, yes. Yes. And down.
The bass line is added by Wallinger. And there's a flute melody from Guo Yue, a Chinese musician who began his career with the band of the Red Army.
So just once all the way through.
Musically, I think there's a lot of link because musically, music always to do with notes and notation and scale. So a lot of country scale, I think, is very similar.
It's like almost needed, you could just play along and just be going, and they could just go in and out at the point that he knows.
I can play. That 4 bars is not for beat, 4 bar.
There's also room for some dramatic overlays from Spain's virtuoso flamenco guitarist, Juan Canizares.
That's the bass keyboard, the foundation keyboard.
Yeah, cut that at the beginning. For 1 bar.
Right.
Just for this intro.
Just dead interesting combinations, you know. Like Juan, the flamenco player, explaining a song via an interpreter to Arona from Senegal, you know. The process of them explaining it to each other, let alone the music, is interesting. You know? I mean, it's fascinating.
Trying to loosen up the Russians too, that was fun, because, you know, I think everyone has their own different background and way of working, and I think for Juan, the flamenco player, and the Terem Quartet, they both come from more sort of structured, disciplined and you know, virtuoso playing. So to have them loosening up and not worrying too much about the mistakes has been an interesting piece of negotiation. I think one of the interesting things for all of us who saw the Terem Quartet is the way they approach their music. For a start, we had no idea if they're just taking the piss all the time or not. But secondly, just the styles are very different. They have these big sort of surges of sound and then retreat like waves, and they are so meticulous and accurate in what they do. It's like watching this sort of finely tuned machine at work, but it's very much a sort of organic, breathing animal.
Yeah, конечно. Нет, там.
If you play it the first time, right, and then you reiterate the melody on the opposite. If you take the melody the second time.
Many of the African artists who are here have more experience cross-pollinating with Western music than the Tarim Quartet does. They have performed almost exclusively in Russia. Some trips to Finland and now recently Western Europe, but they've never been to the States, and I would say this to them is their most profound experience with Western musicians and Western culture. So there's got to be a good deal of culture shock going on for them, as there is for me.
Мы еще ничего не решили, просто попробовать. Да. It's very good.
A different and more intimate piece of teamwork involves Chinese singer Liu Sola and the Japanese percussionist Joji Hirota, whose regular job is musical director of the Lindsay Kemp Dance Company.
So lots of things, the same as Chinese music. You know, it's like in the beginning, the people sing the same music, then they change. And now I'd like to, you know, if we can bring this together again. Because people have the same feeling with music, the whole world. Yeah, but now Oriental music is very soft, and European music and the African music is stronger than Oriental music. If those two different music together, it's like you know, different races, different mix up. I just feel wonderful.
And like 3,000 years ago, we played the same instrument. You know, I found in Japan like 6 ocarinas, the clay South American flute. There in Japan 3,000 years ago, exactly the same. And also China have big influence to Japan, like 5 centuries. All Chinese culture, music, and writing, everything came in about 4 or 5 centuries. Then we have very, very beautiful original people, more than they have.
Joji's introduced a rhythm track as the first step in another experiment, which also involves the Chinese flautist Guo Yue.
It was about spending our time up there looking for an idea. You know, it was a bit like we're homing in on a kind of what Van Morrison calls the Zen moment, you know, or trying to find just a bit of music that makes sense or that feels good, you know. And so we're like a bit like a missile that's guided towards, you know, the target, you know, which is the Zen moment, the good bit of music. And you think you see it coming up, but it turns out in the end to be a sort of grey cloud that looks solid on the radar, and you just go straight through it to the next thing. So, and you just sort of keep going really until you find that thing. And I was saying that I hope to sort of explode on impact just once when I'm down here this week would be nice, you know.
Ireland's Sinead O'Connor adds her distinctive tones.
I suppose people just connect to music, and I don't really understand I think that to discuss it and to analyse it and to go into it in great detail is a mistake, because if we were the kind of people that communicated through words, we wouldn't be musicians in the first place.
The drummers and percussionists find it easiest to team up with others. Joji's contribution stretched from musical impressionism to the calibrated electro approach of the grid.
My name's Richard Norris, and I'm from a band called The Grid, and we're doing kind of lots of collaborations basically. We play kind of very sort of modern dance music and using a lot of electronic keyboard samplers and effects basically. So we're just kind of trying to marry that with whoever's around really, be it flamenco guitarists or you know, drummers or singers from Lapland or whoever. So it's as is a kind of main sort of slightly more Western approach to world music than the rest of them, I think. But that's what we're up to.